Last summer, I went to this concert in London with my friends, and as I stood in the stadium and looked around at the crowd, I wondered how the singer could have enough confidence to stand on the stage with so many people watching them. But actually, many singers use this tactic where to help them gather some guts and courage to stand on the stage, where they act as if nothing affects them, which is the topic for today. So, firstly, is the nothing bothers me mindset. So, life is filled with lots of noise and distractions from other people's opinions, judgments, or just unpredictable setbacks. So, for example, maybe you might be doing your homework in your room, but then your parents call you down for dinner, which distracts you from what you were doing previously. And basically, so true strength comes from mastering the art of indifference, where you can detach your emotions from external circumstances. So, if your external forces can dictate your mood, then you become like a puppet where you can't control your emotions anymore because it's all depending on the circumstances and the environment you're in. But once you master the art of indifference and can control your own mind and emotions, that means you can control your own destiny and your life. So emotions are just like fleeting sensations. So you probably can't even remember the wide range of emotions you probably felt like yesterday or the previous day. And a really important lesson is that thought precedes action. So what you think you eventually believe in, and what you become, because it will influence your actions. So if you react emotionally to the world, then you're giving your power over to them. So for example, if someone insults you, then the natural response would be to retaliate in anger or frustration, or just as a form of self-defense. But if you manage to just smile and stay silent and then walk away, it means you walk away stronger than the other person, and you rob them of the power that they had to insult you in the first place. And it also makes them a little humiliated in why you didn't react, because obviously they're expecting a reaction out of you. So if you don't give it to them, then you also place yourself higher than them, and you're able to walk away untouched. So this is also similar to failures and setbacks. So most people let their emotions take over and control their actions. So they will drown in their sorrows and self-pity and frustrations, and they'll lose months or maybe even years wallowing in their self-pity, where they could have used the time to make progress in what they actually care about. So for example, a lot of successful people Thomas Edison, for example, when he was making the light bulb, he had to go through 1,000 failed experiments to finally be able to make the right one. He treated each failure as a learning experience and stepping stone that would eventually get him to his success. So he didn't internalize failure, and instead he observed from his mistakes, adapted and moved forwards, so he was able to rise above them and not let it control him. So secondly, how do you achieve this mindset and this control? So firstly, pausing before reacting. So you can train your mind daily by practicing to step back in emotionally charged situations. For example, if you're in a heated argument or something, and someone else is yelling at you, then you should think to yourself, is my reaction necessary, or will that just escalate things and waste my energy? So you should think before you act, instead of just yelling back at them. You should think, maybe I can do something better than that. Secondly is visualization. So you can see yourself as someone who moved through life unaffected, and you can reinforce this image, and eventually it can become your reality, because what you repeatedly visualize and think, it's what you eventually believe in and become. So eventually you'll develop the habits that will make you seem unaffected by criticism, and sure that nothing bothers you, so you're in more control of your life. Thirdly is emotional detachment. So basically, you stay unshaken when like criticized or insulted, and you're not impulsive or controlled by your emotions. So it means that you can pause, assess, and respond with intention, so that your actions actually have meaning instead of them just being like impulsive and like controlled. But like emotional detachment doesn't mean suppressing your feelings, but it means that you can control and master them. So for example, like I had this like exams in like exam season, and I wanted to be like a rocket scientist, you know. So I spent lots of time like in the library studying physics. And one time I was in the library and I was studying, and then a group of other people came over and said how it was so useless studying, and how I should just like spend time to go to the cinema and relax instead, because it's not such a big deal. But you can't like hand over your peace to like other people and external factors, and you need to make sure your inner world remains like sacred and untouched. So I was able to just like tell them, like ignore them, and say that I was just like focusing on my work because it mattered more to me. Fourth is to set clear priorities. So you define what truly matters in your life. And because everyone's energy and time on the earth is limited, we only have 24 hours to do what we want. So if we really want to succeed in anything, we have to put all of our energy into it. So for example, if I want to become like a rocket scientist, I need to spend more time like in like physics. Or if I want to become like a famous piano player, I need to spend all of my time playing piano. Or if I wanted to become a famous tennis player, or like just really good, then I have to spend more time like on the tennis courts, like practicing like tennis. So you have to have like a strong foundation of your self-worth, and once you have that, it can increase your confidence, which makes you lose the grip of the opinions of others lose grip on you. So it doesn't matter to you as much, because you know how much you're worth and they can't take that away. So by setting clear priorities, it doesn't mean you're caring less, it just means that you're caring more wisely, and you care more deeply about the things that actually matter to you and the right things, instead of like other people's opinions. So like I care more about like revising for my physics test than I do about other people complaining about how I never like rest or anything. So the true power is to be able to walk away from like what drains you, and like rise above like petty conflicts or arguments that don't mean much, and to be able to focus in like a world full of distractions. So basically choose where to direct energy and refuse to waste your energy on things that don't deserve your attention. So yeah. Also, seeking approval is like a trap, because it means you place your happiness in the hands of others, and means you're dependent on their validation. So it means that like you're like relying on others to be happy, and you can't make yourself happy, and no one else's opinion of you should outweigh your own. So when you give other powers to like define your worth, then that means that you're losing control of their life of your life. And it means once you have like self-reliance and more confidence, it means you don't need permission from other people to be who you are and do what you want. So you can walk your own path unapologetically. So for example, even like because I want to become like a rocket scientist one day, if I continue like focusing on what I want and ignore other people's like opinions and like judgments of myself, eventually if I become a famous scientist and like somehow manage to develop a new rocket, it means I'm also giving value to society as well by improving myself and focusing on my dreams as well. So you shouldn't like just throw your life away because of something someone else said. So many people have a need for approval, because it all comes from fear, or like fear of judgment. But like if you seek approval too much, it means you become a prisoner of their expectations, and you're bending and twisting yourself to fit in the molds of others' expectations that others design. And it means that you betray yourself and what you really want, and you're sacrificing your dreams and happiness just for to please other people. So like many people want to be loved by everyone, but it's impossible, and universal approval is an illusion, because no matter what you do, someone will always have something to say about it, because you can never impress everyone at the same time. So why should you waste your energy trying if it's never going to happen anyways? Surely you should just do what you love and enjoy and make yourself happy in the process. Lastly is to validate yourself. So you have to acknowledge your own progress and celebrate your achievements, whether they're big or small. So you acknowledge your worth, and it means that external approval from others becomes irrelevant. So you stand firm on who you are. This is like having an internal judgment system, and it means that you can determine your worth, and if what you're doing is right to you. You don't need to ask other people whether you're doing something is it right or is it wrong, because you can judge it for yourself, because only you will have the full picture of what you're going to do, and other people won't understand where you are in your journey. So you should respect your own decisions, and refuse to accept that your value is negotiated or decided by others, because it can only be decided by yourself. And yeah, once you stop seeking approval from others, you're free to be yourself with no filter on your words, and you can go through the world with more authenticity. And it's also you can have a growth mindset to improve yourself. Thirdly is mindful indifference is a superpower. So people are conditioned to believe that we must care about everything, and society makes us think that our worth is dependent on what other people think and how much they care about us. But freedom is when you finally realize that most things you care about don't actually matter. So you should ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? And if it doesn't, then you shouldn't waste time thinking about it at all. Because those are the things we worry about in our everyday lives. For example, if you said something embarrassing, oh no, I said something embarrassing today, or oh no, I tripped in that puddle and everyone saw me, it becomes insignificant with time, but we still let it consume our thoughts and decide our actions, and let it swirl around in our brain over and over again, even though it doesn't actually matter. Which is why we need to develop a mental indifference. And a mental indifference doesn't mean you don't have empathy for anything. In fact, it just means that you're prioritizing what you enjoy and what you think is more important above everything else, because your energy is finite and one day you'll run out, because you only have 24 hours in this world. So 24 hours every day. So you should choose to invest in what you believe you can improve for yourself. So because not every battle is worth fighting for, and not every opinion is worth arguing for, and you should stand firm in your self-worth. So for example, Messi, he's this very successful football player. As you know, when he grew up, he was really short and had loads of health complications, but he was laser focused on his goals to become a famous football player, and he refused distractions, and he didn't just carry on doing football because of what everyone else said. In fact, he did it for himself, because he had a passion for it and he enjoyed playing it. So you should go forwards with clarity, and understand that every moment you spend worrying about what others think about you is a moment stolen from the progress you could have made in that time. So fourthly is criticism and pressure. So both criticism and pressure is inevitable, and how you handle those can define your strength. So for example, criticism, most people take it to heart, and it ends up shaping their identity and deciding what actions they take, and like they continue thinking about it all the time. But why? Because criticism is nothing more than words and opinions and judgments from people who don't understand your journey. So it only has as much power as you give it. So if someone like criticizes you and you take it to heart, then obviously it will be very important to you, and it's very powerful and controlling you because you continue thinking about it all the time. But if someone criticizes you and you just completely ignore it, then it's meaningless because you don't even listen to it at all. So it has no power over you. And once I was like in school, I was like singing on a stage, and after my performance, some people came up to me, and some of them said that for one of the notes I should go higher and like improve the like pitch, which is what we call like constructive criticism, which comes from people who genuinely want to see you grow and improve. And they come from people who might have more experience than you, and you should take that to heart and use it to improve yourself and grow. And the other type of criticism is destructive criticism. So the people were saying, oh, like your voice sounds horrible or something, and like you looked really weird on stage. And that's like it comes from people who want to drag you down and who like don't actually want to see you improve. And so you shouldn't take that to heart, and you should just like completely ignore it, because they're just meaningless words coming from people who don't understand you, who don't know what you're trying to do, and maybe they haven't even sung anything before. So I know my dad used to tell me the story about like some crabs like stuck in like a bucket, and every single time one of the crabs would almost escape, the other crabs would just put it back down so it couldn't escape from the bucket. Another thing is like pressure. So not everything you do goes according to plan, and once like someone's like your plan like backfires, or like there's a mistake in it or something doesn't happen and there's like setbacks, then many people will get extremely stressed and let the pressure like control them, and they will react emotionally and like think, oh no, my whole entire life is going to be ruined. But other like people, they can like successful people usually like they respond with strategy, and they embrace their uncertainty because they understand that you can't control what happened in your life. Like people can change, like I don't know, like maybe like you'll get fired from your job because of some like unforeseen circumstances, but you should always be prepared that things are going to change, and shouldn't like stay comfortable like where you are for too long, because and also let go of what you can't control, because like because if you can't control it, why should you spend time thinking about it? And it's like it takes a lot of mental strength to be able to do that. So one time I heard my parents talking at the like dinner table about how there was like rising, my mom was talking about the rising costs of rice and oil, and my dad was just saying how you can't control it, so we should stop thinking about it because the government decides how much it costs and there's nothing we can do about it. And he was just like, or maybe like he was thinking about what he could do to help improve our situation, which was to like work harder and maybe get more money to pay for the supplies. So finally, in conclusion, with the points we've talked about today, maybe I'll have more courage to stand in front of the stage and perform again in front of like on the next school performance day in front of a crowd. I hope you learned a lot from this. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.